ninth round pick out of the Citadel in 1981, Stump carved out a successful NFL career with the Cardinals.
He's strong. He can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. He had it all. He had everything in his game.
In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Hello, I want to welcome everyone to the Stump Talk podcast. Welcome back, Stump. January 27th. This is episode 21. Our partner, Sapphire, is out building a snowman and getting that together. Coach, want to welcome you. We're about 30 minutes past our normal time. We had some technical difficulties, but life is about breaking tackles, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And with this weather, people can understand that there's a lot going on all across the country, man. The snow, cold, freezing ice, everything.
Well, there's a lot going on in the NFL, Coach, and I thought it was integral to hear it directly from you, not only with the Browns, but with the NFL. And Russ, please feel free to join us anytime tonight with your expertise and angles of how you see the game. But Coach, I want to start off, even though we got a lot of good things to talk about for Browns fans. I want to jump into what the major subject is, which is the Super Bowl on February the 8th, the Patriots, the Seahawks, Drake May versus Sam Darnold. The kid you vouched for out of USC went to the New York Jets. You spent some time with him. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup, Coach?
Well, I think it's a great matchup. No question about it. The weather would definitely be better in San Francisco than it was in Chicago, and also than it was in Denver. So those teams that have made it are going to have definitely some nice weather. I think Sam has been doing a tremendous job. That's a situation. I know Minnesota now, they're kicking themselves for allowing him to leave because of how he played so well last year and how he played, of course, this year. Drake May is doing a phenomenal job. Rabel has those guys playing high intensity ball. They taking what's given. Drake May did a heck of a job last week running it in for the touchdown. Unfortunately, Sean probably wish he would have gone and kicked the field goal by now because it would have put them up 2 scores. And you just never know how Drake may have pressed had he been down a couple scores. Not only him, but some of the other players as well.
Coach, watching that game, we had a text group with Sapphire, Russ, and you and myself. Seems like the game is steadily moving away from good old-fashioned football. Run the ball, play defense. Uh, Points are very precious. Even the head coach for the Lions, I thought, may have missed a window with some of his gambles and his analytics angle to approaching the game, Coach. Given the time frame that you've been around the game and what you've seen over the years, if you're sitting as a head coach, do you buy into analytics, Coach, or would you stick to let's get some points on the board and uh, uh, get something out of each possession?
Our conversation was that I think a couple of you all thought that uh, the Patriots would win, and I
That was
said,
me.
and I said Sean Payton, because I just thought even though Sean was playing with a backup quarterback, that quarterback has been in his system long enough, and they jumped out, they got a 7 point lead, had the opportunity to go up 10-0. And I just didn't anticipate that call that he was going to go for it on fourth down and not kick the field goal.
Coach, I was watching that game and Stidham, the backup quarterback, Bo Nix had a pretty decent year. We can attribute Sean Payton's coaching to probably a lot of that and that defense, putting him in great position. But coach, it seemed to me the defense of the Patriots and Mike Vrabel started to figure out almost after the second possession. Both teams had good drives and had some momentum out the back after kickoff, but then things slowed down. Those points started to slow up. It seems like they figured out Stidham rather quickly.
Well, I mean, I don't think it really. Well, Sean probably didn't do as much with him as he would have liked to have done with with the quarterback. But Bo would have ran probably a little more. He had played the entire season for the most part, and now you got a guy that's he's a veteran, but it's a whole different ball game.
Coaching in the other game, the Seahawks, Sam Darnold. Well, first, let's go back. Congratulations to uh, Ashton Grant. Congratulations to Mike Vrabel. We applaud him, coach, for giving that kid a chance. And the personal relations with this game and some of the people we got love for, coach. And, we talked about the Bill Willis program and how Ashton Grant came to the Browns and he couldn't get an interview for whatever reason. They didn't keep him in house after, I think you said 4 to 5 years with the franchise. Mike Vrabel and offensive coordinator McDaniels took him to the Patriots. So we very glad and proud to salute him on getting to the Super Bowl with Drake May. Hopefully he wins an MVP. Back to Sam Darnold, coach. You vouched for Sam Darnold and told us how you felt about him. Again, that was one of those situations where I didn't see it, but come to find out, you were right for the 29th time in a row. Talk to us about Sam Darnold and how you feel about him going through so much adversity with other teams.
Well, before we get to Sam, we got to go back to the Patriots, because they have Josh Dobbs also on that team. He's a backup, but he has similar tools to Drake. He can run.
Mm.
And he can also throw the ball. I mean, we had the same thing with him. Had we made him the starter while Deshaun was going to be out, it would have been the same type of offense. Dearness Johnson had 2 kickoff returns. He averaged 29 and a half yards. I mean, that was huge when you're talking about the weather in which they were playing in. And we chose to let Dearness go. And you also have Austin Hooper. I mean, we got him. He played his first season. He was pretty good for us. The second season, it didn't go as well. I mean, we had a change of position coaches and all of that stuff. So, there are 4 guys, not counting the head coach, who's actually spent some time in the Browns organization that's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. And all of those guys, for the most part, Josh hadn't had the opportunity to play, but Dearness played, and Ashton is doing a good job with the quarterbacks.
So back to Sam Darnold, coach. What do you remember about Sam Darnold when you were with the Jets and seeing him be a part of that organization?
Well, I remember him coming out of USC, and the one flaw that he had was he would throw the interception, But I think as a coordinator, you kind of take him out of some of those elements with the types of plays you call, plays you have designed, and you try to help him. He brought too many other tangibles to the field for us not to be successful with him. He could run, he could make the off schedule throws, he could do it all, but he would put the ball in harm's way. Uh, and I tried to get the Browns to bring Sam Darnold, and they wouldn't do it. But I just thought with Kevin' ability to work with quarterbacks and Alex Van Pelt, I thought it would have been a no-brainer. I mean, I could see Sam being great because Alex Van Pelt is a hell of a coach. Kevin was a hell of a coach, but he's Kevin's going by the wayside as far as I'm concerned. Coaches that don't stand up for the players, don't stand up for the coaches. Really, I mean, you think it's all about you, and it's not. He's fired a couple offensive coordinators since he's gotten rid of Alex Van Pelt.
Speaking of offensive coordinators and quarterbacks, coach, um, who do you think is going to outshine who in terms of uh, May versus Donaldson? Which OC which quarterback coach, who you think is going to put it together, or is that prevalent on who has the best defense that day?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a defensive deal, but and Seattle have a pretty good. They have a pretty good defensive front, and they're doing pretty good in the secondary. Uh, Seattle, I think, may win the game. I don't think they're going to allow Drake to get off totally. He's gonna make some off schedule plays, but I think Sam is going to do that as well. And I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Seattle's going to win.
What's your prediction, score wise, Coach? Uh, Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th, Pats
20,
vs Seahawks.
21-14.
21-14 Seahawks.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to something that's a little more closer to home, if you will, for our Browns fans out here, for Ohio, um, for our Browns backers worldwide. The Browns head coaching carousel finalist, the circus, I'm going to call it at this point, Coach. I'm want to give the Andrew Barrett, whoever, maybe some kind of credit for the administrative side of the business. But it looks like some of the coaches coming in, Udinski, and some of the candidates they had declined to come in. Harbaugh told him no, he wouldn't come in the interview. He took the Giants job. So, Coach, right now looking at Jim Schwartz, Anthony Lynn, Nate Schillhouse, they said that the owner Haslam may have told him Shithouse may or may not be his guy, but whoever comes in and takes that job needs to inherit Jim Schwartz. So, Coach, looks like a mess because they could have. Russ just mentioned this, and people who've been watching the Browns and seeing the transgressions. Even if you hire Jim Schwartz, why wait until now?
Well, because they thought, I've been reading, they've been giving all these people these tests and all of this stuff, but the people have been giving them the test too. You take a look at the how old that team has gotten under Andrew Berry, that offensive line. Everything is about an offensive line. Those guys got old under Andrew Berry. You take a look at them allowing Coach Callahan to leave for nothing. It don't work that way. The precedent has been set uh, with Sean Payton and the Saints. He moved out of his contract. He had 1 year left. He wanted to go someplace, take a year off, which he did, and the Saints kept his rights. He didn't go back there. He went to, of course, we know Denver, but they got picks for him. The Saints got picks for him. That's what uh, the Browns should have done for Coach Callahan. You don't just let him go to your son because he's a head coach. It don't work that way. It's a business, So if you're gonna do that, you make sure you get something for him. You tell him no, you don't worry about it because it's one thing you know about Coach Callahan. He's gonna bust his butt for the team, for the organization, and because that's who he is. Now he may not have signed another contract, but that's fine too. You would have gone back to the playoffs, probably would have won the division, and everything would have been squeaky clean. But that didn't happen. That's not the way it happened. Teams know that guys that they were interviewing know that that team is old in terms of the offensive line. So I don't think you can really uh, get anybody better with that team than Jim Schwartz. It's that plain and simple. And if they set, in my opinion, the NFL will do anything. I mean, they set the bar for having the very first uh, full guaranteed contract. All right. What Andrew need to do is set the bar by having the first full time two head coaches.
I'm
However,
glad you mentioned that,
however,
Coach.
however you want to do it, you hire Jim Schwartz, okay, and you hire Todd Monken because I guarantee you, Shadur will be able to become the player that people think he is, which he is not right now. But he can be if he have a Todd Monken. Todd Monken is not going to sit back and just let Shador do his own thing. That's not going to be the way it goes. He's going to help him to become the person and the player that he can be.
The reports on Stillhouse that he runs a new new wave offense that's innovative and supposed to be the new hot thing, coach. But I look at Anthony Lynn. To me, coach, you can protect and help your quarterback by running the football, right? And so they said Anthony Lynn may be a run heavy guy. Do you think a coach like that that's going to kind of go back to the run game to limit the amount of times you're going to allow Shador or Watson to even make those mistakes in the first place?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Okay. But I don't give a crap if you don't have the tools to skin him, you can't skin him. Okay. Those offensive linemen is definitely what you need, regardless of what you want to do. You have to build your game plan around the players. You have to have schemes to help them out. That's and if that's guy is not coming in there, if that's not the guy you're getting, then it's going to be the same thing it was last year. You're going to have to have some angles blocking because those guys are not great one-on-one guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the opportunity to get a receiver, another receiver who can stretch the field. So if they try to double one guy, you have another guy that's available that can make some stuff happen. I know Tom Munkin can do all of those things, but
Uh, our guy Latharov said no to Jim Schwartz, and to me, coach, Jim Schwartz was in Detroit. I understand his success he's had with his defense in Cleveland, but we do have some historical data on him. And Jen Victoria just mentioned that the hiring process for the Browns may have turned some people away. So, coach, in your tenure and as long as you've been around the game, your 22 years, you know, in NFL tutelage as a coach, your time in college. I mean, do they need to? How do you feel about that process to give a potential coaching candidate the Wonderlic test? Right, you put them through these. I heard the test was pretty extensive. I mean, they expect a guy like a Harbaugh or a guy like Stump Mitchell to come in and really test to get a job.
well, listen, this is the deal. Jim Schwartz had the opportunity to be a head coach. I'm sure he made some mistakes, but I guarantee you, he learned from his mistakes. But what's more important is that he learned from the mistakes of others. Okay, there was a lot more others that he worked for and guys in the NFL than the one Jim Schwartz. So he knows exactly what he need to do in order for them to be successful. You're not going to find a guy that's going to come in and have the stability that you can get right now with Jim Schwartz because that defense, those guys, they don't have to think. All they have to do is play. All right. And if you can average 14 to 17 points, I think you stand a and not if they could average 17 points this year and not made the mistakes that they had on special teams, they would have won double digit games. Ain't no question in my mind about that. And they probably would have won the dang on division. So you allow that defense to stay the same but get better at the same time. And offense, they'll come along and they can easily, I think, win that division. Every uh, coach in that division, every team in that division got a new coach except for Cincinnati.
Mhm.
So if you can keep your defense the same, some of those offensive players are still going to be there as well.
Well,
Todd Monken would do a hell of a job with that offense, and Jim Schwartz, uh, given the opportunity to be a head coach, uh, he'll right the wrong. And the first time, there is uh, a learning curve, or you may not. Most of the time, you get in a job because they're not successful. You know,
mhm.
most of the time. But he's in a position where those players believe in him, and that's number one. The dang on players believe in him. both offensively and defensively. They believe in it. So I think
Right.
he's the way to go.
Russ,
Hmm.
I mean, if they give if they coach suggested that they should make another historical business move in NFL sports and picking their coaches by having two uh, head coaches. So is that a slight to Jim Schwartz? You think he would go for him not being the head guy? You think they would let him hire? You think he would work for another head coach and just go back to being the DC?
I think he
He's
would. I think he'd settle back at DC. I don't know how the co-head coach would work. It would be a novel idea, but who would be the final voice when it comes to making the decisions? Is it just like we got a head coach on offense, he makes all the offense decisions, head coach on defense. So when it comes to a fourth and one, is that we leaving that up to the offensive head coach?
no, I think they will make it. They will actually play complementary football. It
I
won't
think
just
so.
be a term that they say we're playing complementary football. Okay. It all depends. I think situations are going to dictate whether. I think everything will dictate. I think both Todd and Jim can work together to understand where we want to go for it. It also depends on who we're playing. It depends on what situation you're in, what point of the game. I think they would do a hell of a job. I mean, both of those guys want to win. Both of them want an opportunity, one to be a head coach again, and one to be the first time head coach. So ego would not play a part in that aspect of what we're going to do uh, to make this thing right.
Hmm.
However, let's dive deeper into that. Coach Duncan Russ, they hired Jim Schwartz as the head coach. Does he name his linebackers coach? James Frank asked a great question. Would he name his linebacker coach as the DC, or how would the be? What would be the fallout there? What do you think, Russ?
I think he should. That I think Jason Tarver is the linebacker coach. That would be a good move. I mean, it'd still be Schwartz defense, so it's just like Tommy Reese and Stefanski situation. He's just calling the plays. You got the defensive rookie of the year. You know what I'm saying? Your coach on the field. I think keep the continuity going.
Coach Stump, do you think he'll hire want to elevate one of his in the house guys if Schwartz gets that head coaching job from his defensive staff?
Listen, as a head coach, it should be your will to have somebody on your staff be able to do something if somebody leave. You shouldn't have to search around for people because in my opinion, every coach on that team should want to be a head coach. They should want to be a head coach. They should aspire to be a head coach. Learn as much about all phases, all 22 positions, that you can, and have the desire and drive to be successful and to be a head coach.
I feel that.
Again, one of the things they talked about was uh, Haslam with some of the potential new hires coming in. Haslam telling them and informing them that Schwartz, as expected, will be retained and be the DC, and then maybe some of the incoming guys like Steelhouse, he's hot offensive coordinators and passing game coordinators having to inherit Jim Schwartz. I want to get into our since we're talking about coaches. I want to get into the NFL hires. Mike McCarthy to the Steelers coach. I want to go back to that. John Harbaugh to the Giants. Stefanski to ATL. I almost said the Browns. Uh, Joe Brady to the Bills and Jesse Minter with the Ravens. Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins and Robert Saleh to the Titans. Coach, before we touch on you know the lack of African Americans on the new hires, we talked about Robert Saleh, but let's go back to Mike McCarthy to the Steelers coach. I know he's a local Pennsylvania guy. It looks like the local uh, the fan base for the Steelers weren't too excited about McCarthy. I've never been a huge fan of McCarthy and some of the teams he's had. in Green Bay and Dallas, and he's had some concessions, and to me, has some great opportunities. Coach, what do you think about that hire?
I don't think it's bad. I mean, he's had some success. He's had some success. Aaron Rodgers is there. Uh, you know, maybe he get an opportunity to come back. Maybe that was one of the reasons uh, they brought him back. And you never know. Aaron may have had some conversation with the owners, so you don't know. Defensively, I think they'll be okay with whomever they bring in to play. But I think Tomlin had taken that team as far as he possibly could. I mean, constantly losing in the first round and a lot of those games being at home, you just can't do that. It was time for him to move on. McCarthy, I think, will do a good job. I know he had some issues at one point in time in Green Bay, but I think he'll do a good job.
Russ, I want to go back. Jim Victoria made a pretty funny statement. She said the co-head coaches worked in Remember the Titans, and probably one of the best football sports movies that's been made. But with that being said, Coach Russ posed a very good question. It's going to come a time where one guy has to make a big decision.
Hmm.
How would they differentiate who makes that decision, Coach? You
That
think too?
decision, that decision is made before the game. Those
Right.
decisions are made before the game. I mean, if it's pertaining to a game situation, uh, it's cut and dry. I mean, both of those guys are older guys. At what point in time is the game? You take points. All this analytical bullshit. I mean, you take points. You get a
One of
chance. You get a chance to kick a field goal on your first drive. Go ahead and do it. You still got a lot of time left. Don't come away with nothing.
Yeah, I
Don't.
think you should always take the points. At this point, you see all the mistakes with teams going forward. Just take the points every time, unless you need it at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
Put the points on the board. I got a curveball to throw out there though for you, Coach and bro. He's still in the building and nobody talks about him. What about Bubba Ventrone as head coach?
No.
hell no.
No. There's no
That's
way.
not what we want, but I'm thinking
No.
I'm thinking Haslam's point of view. He wants to
No.
keep Bubba around too.
And no, Haslam ain't thinking about that. He attended those games. That dang going special teams was terrible. How can you make it? There's no.
But you in the press conference, he said he found him a kicker.
I don't care what he found.
I
It's not just a
don't know.
kicker. The kicker, you're not really looking for a kicker to make tackles. He's your
He
pass.
is the assistant head coach though, and Stefanski didn't take him. He didn't take him with him.
Patron had probably the worst year statistically for special teams and maybe the
Probably
history of
ever.
the NFL. It
Yeah,
might be a
yeah.
fact.
No, he has no chance of being the head coach there. None.
So some of the other hires. Well, let's touch on this. Stefanski and AT in Atlanta, coach.
Mhm.
We had a front row seat to Stefanski, even setting aside our relationship with you, coach. I just thought that there were a lot of bad situational football, bad leadership, bad management, excuse me, and a lack of personnel skills, right? Based on me learning kind of some of the things that were occurring. You taking down the ATL, predominantly an African American community and that sports community down there specifically. And there's some undertones there with the house that Dion built and that whole deal. I don't know what the owner, who I thought that owner has been pretty progressive, Arthur Blank, and he handed those responsibilities to the new guy who was a quarterback down there. And I don't even want to justify by saying his name, but his first hire was Stefanski, coach. Um, you mentioned that you thought things could go well there. I totally disagree. I don't. I think it's gonna fall from under like it has based on what I know about him from watching him. But what do you think that's all about? Like, how did he get that job, coach?
I think first and foremost, you got Kirk Cousins, who was in Minnesota. Okay, and you got Michael Penix who's coming off of surgery. They're both the same type of quarterbacks for the most part. They don't. They will use their legs, but they don't really use their legs for running. Those guys are passers. Okay, I believe Kevin's going to do a hell of a job in Atlanta. You got the top back that was in the game last year.
Dijon.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Coach Callahan is back there. At least now he's going to have his offensive coordinator for the second year. Okay, uh, so I just think right now Kevin get an opportunity to coach guys that's just passers for the most part. That's all he ever really had. He tried to match wits with athletes, which he is not good at. He proved that. But Jacoby, uh, Jameis Winston, all those guys were able to pass the ball relatively well. Okay, because he took shots with those guys because that's who he was, you know. But he tried to match wits with Deshaun. You don't do that. You don't try to match wits with a Patrick Mahomes. You just take you if you want to take credit for what they do, you can. But hell, those guys are special. You know, Andy Reid never tried to match wits with Mahomes. But what Andy Reid did do the second time they played because they lost a playoff game to Cincinnati because Patrick threw an interception. I mean, he threw what did he do? Time ran out. Time ran out for them before half to kick a field goal. A year later, they was playing Cincinnati again. He didn't even give him an opportunity. He kicked a field goal late in the first quarter. So he learned from that mistake. Okay, Kevin never learned from his mistakes.
Nope.
Russ, you as a Browns fan and watching from the seat that you sit in, we watched, uh, the lack of using Chubb and running the ball, the lack of developing a quarterback. He went through 13 quarterbacks. All
Hmm.
13 of the quarterbacks couldn't have been bad in the world I live in, right? And then
Nah,
the lack of people skills. And again, we hold people accountable over here. AVP, Callahan, Ashton Grant, Mike Vrabel, Coach Stump Mitchell. You watch guys like that walk out the door. I'm like, and you can go down. You should never have a job in the NFL. I'm just gonna say that. But what are your
right.
thoughts on that, Russ? And then you got the Shador Dion effect. You think there was a message there, Russ? Am I digging too deep? I mean, you sent him to probably the most African American market outside of maybe Carolina and the Saints to Atlanta, and
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
Atlanta probably is number one.
he mishandled, Shador, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, he mishandled Shador, and I mean, it's a lot of conspiracy going on with that. You know, he kept the defensive coordinator whose son was the one that made the prank call on Shador draft night. I think Stefanski will have his first year will be good. I think he'll probably make
I
the
can see that.
playoffs the first year, and then it'll start falling apart after that. They have a lot of talent, but Stefanski doesn't appear to be a leader of men. And, after a while, that message will get, watered out. And so I don't see it. I don't see it long term being successful. I think they could have went after another head coach and would have been better off.
I think
But
Uh,
relationships is relationships in the league. So
I'm going to call
I
it the
got I
get
got a
over.
question real quick for Coach. How do you feel about Stefanski and Callahan's relationship with Callahan joining back up with Stefanski? You-
well, Coach Callahan is a professional. You know,
Mhm.
he's a professional. He's going to do his job. Uh, they got runners. Of course, he's going to hope Kevin would run the ball more. And basic. The thing about it, they're going to do it well. I think they're going to do well for a long time. I really do. Uh, Arthur Blank is a hell of an owner. I mean, they're going to have the opportunity to go out and get some players, uh, and the division is not that tough. You don't have no outstanding. I mean, Baker's playing well, but you don't have no just outstanding quarterbacks in that division. guys getting hurt. Uh, it's a softer division than the division that he just left in
Oh,
the AFC.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Joe Brady from the Bills was promoted to head coach. I thought that was a little weird, you guys, because he was already working on the staff and working with Josh Allen, who, give or take, he's the guy and he's the man, but he also had some turnovers in the playoffs and bears the brunt of some of those postseason losses over the last 3 or 4 years. Coach, you get rid of a solid coach like McDermott, who I would like to come to see to the Browns, but we think about that hire to elevate a guy. You still got to coach defense. I mean, what's going on there?
Well, I like it. I mean, because sometimes you're the sacrificial lamb. You know, sometimes things happen. You just got to believe in God, man. That's what you got to do. I was a head coach at Southern University. I brought in players, I brought in coaches, and I did everything that I possibly could. But you know what? I got fired, and the other coaches was still there, and I was happy. I was happy because of that, because I brought those coaches there. I didn't want them out in the streets looking for a job. I didn't want to get fired. But you know what? I was there as long as God wanted me to be there. That's the bottom line. I was, no matter how long I wanted to be there, I was there as long as God wanted me to be there. And I left there, and immediately I went back in the NFL to the Cardinals. So I think it's a good thing. Now I just hope that Brady, Joe, would make Adam Henry the dang on offensive coordinator, because Adam has dealt with players, man. He's dealt with some stud receivers, guys. Those receivers. A lot of those guys, they're ego guys.
Hmm.
And I know Adam would do a hell of a job as the offensive coordinator. Perhaps Freddie should have made Adam the offensive coordinator. He made Todd the offensive coordinator, which wasn't bad, but I think uh, Adam, who had already been with Freddie, probably would have had a little more uh, juice with the players that was already there. So
Russ,
I'm hoping Joe Brady can make Adam his offensive coordinator.
Hmm.
Russ, I want to delve into another subject. I think there were, 9 jobs available. We got one, two, three, four, five, six,
It
seven
was
jobs have been filled.
it was
Uh,
10.
there were
It was
10
10.
available.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Hmm.
7 have been filled, Coach. I don't know the ethnicity of Robert Saleh, but Coach, there's been a lack of hiring of African American head coaches again, regardless of the Rooney Rule. And again, I said the guys that come the hair to the side and got the butt face. Here come another one. I don't even know where they find them. It's like it's a factory out there, right? And you cannot tell me, even guys like yourself, Coach, but you know, we've talked about Ashton Grant many times. You cannot tell me there's no young minorities out there, Coach, that are just as bright, just as savvy, just as innovative. They have the people skills, they have the management skills, they have the executive skills to run an NFL team as a head coach. Where are we, Russ? We'll let Russ go first on this one,
I
Coach.
think I think I think it's starting. As Coach tell us, it's the coordinator positions as well. How many minority coordinators are getting hired? Let's start there. And then as we walk around, these games, these All Star games, how many minority scouts are out there? You know what I mean? So it's at every level. Um, there's not enough diversity there. And when you see the league and you look at how many minorities that actually play the game, how come that's not translating to off the field?
And Coach, before you interject with this, I want to just mention one thing. 'Cause I got an idea where you're going to go with this, but let's also remember the way they have been doing things doesn't mean it's successful, right? So they bring in all these pretty faces that they pulling out of some damn, I don't know where they come from, whatever. They work to get there respectfully, but they're not being successful. I mean, we had 10 firings for a reason.
Mhm.
Yes, but this is a deal. Russ, Roe, who comes into your house? Who comes into your house?
Nobody comes to my house, but people
The people that's what?
that look like me and
Well,
assimilate with
well,
me.
well, the color don't even matter. It's the
No.
people that you let in your house.
Right.
Correct.
People you
That's who,
trust.
because you are what? You're the owner.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to tell you you have to let somebody in your house unless you want to let them in your house. So unless you own something, don't try to force. No rules are going to force anybody to hire anyone. It's who they want to hire, and I do not have a problem with that because I'm a damn running back coach. Let me tell you, I should have been a head coach in the National Football League.
Hmm.
All right, but none of the minority head coaches have hired a minority running back coach as a head coach. Andy Reid has given Eric Bieniemy opportunities, all right, to be an offensive coordinator, which is
Hmm.
great. You know, you had a couple running back coaches who stepped in and had a chance to be uh, a head interim head coach, and
Mhm.
then Anthony Lynn ended up getting the job. You know, with the Charger, with the was it the Chargers?
Chargers.
Yeah, with the Chargers. But you didn't have a whole lot of running back coaches get the opportunity when you had black coaches as head coaches to be an offensive coordinator. So you can't put it all on them. I mean, we don't respect ourselves.
100%, coach. However, whatever happened to doing what it takes to do to be successful, right? Winning games, coach. Me myself. I'm competitive. I don't like losing at any aspect in life, even if it's just for fun or for if I'm betting, I want to win. I have to win, right? So when we're talking about being successful, coach, whatever system that is in place, and I'm not here to try to shake that up, but like you said, we have to accept it. The owners are going to pick who they like. I get that, but it ain't working. It doesn't mean it's a successful model for winning.
But if you lean on what Coach just said, owners see the Andy Reid successful. They don't see the successful minority coach who has been given that opportunity. So they go back to what they know, what they trust.
And we've had some minority general managers. How many have they hired?
Mhm.
How many have they hired?
Yeah.
You're right, coach. I mean, we are. I get it and I understand it. Um, with that being said, I just believe there's some guys out there who actually can help you win on Sunday, right? I don't care if he's
Yes.
Chinese, right? There's a guy
Yeah.
out there, right? They bringing in this same mold and model of guy, and it's like, okay, here we go again.
Well, unless you own something, it's not much you can do.
So the next big topic I want to cover, you guys, is Shador Sanders. Congrats, Shador, on your Pro Bowl. I don't know if we want to call it a nomination. And I want to, I want to just say this: he deserves it because he got it right. I never cry about or hate on the guy. If you get it done, you got it done. It is what it is. This is what God wanted for you. So, coach, with that being said, he should go enjoy it, take what comes with it. And I had some mixed feelings about it before. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, what do you have to say about that, Coach Dunn?
Well, it's a joke, to be perfectly honest, because when people are talking about Hall of Fame guys, one thing they talk about is the amount of Pro Bowls they made. That's one of the things when you're talking about those guys getting selected to the Hall of Fame. And he didn't really do a whole lot. It's about winning and losing, and he didn't do a whole lot of that. And he had a lot of flaws in his game that he needed to handle better. I mean, the last game, the interceptions that he threw, some of them was just bad. I mean, you got other guys that played. Davis Mills won 5 games. Okay, He won 5 of the 6 games that he played. As a matter of fact, he should have been playing the last playoff game. You know, you
What's
can't
that,
wait.
coach?
You got to play every game. You got to play every game to win that game, and don't worry about nobody's feelings. You got 52 other guys that's busting their butt, and all of a sudden I'm sick. You know, take me out of the game. Well, I've phoned three. Take me out of the game. And Davis Mills should have gotten an opportunity to play in that game, and I think they would have won it. Their defense was, I mean, the Texans' defense was just playing out of sight,
Phenomenal.
man.
Right.
They were playing out of sight. So Davis Mills, if anybody, hell, he's an AFC guy. He should have gone to the Pro Bowl. But it's all about right now. It's all about them dang on marketing. It's about uh, guys on getting votes from fans and everything, and Shador being a fan favorite. But I mean, he didn't deserve this year to be in the Pro Bowl. Yeah,
Russ.
no
Russ,
way.
you got to. Sorry, coach. Russ, you got to send that home. Apollo allows us to get a view from the kids are running are selling products, buying products, I should say.
Right.
You, so can you talk about that? Does this put almost a mockery on NFL because he obviously didn't deserve to be a Pro Bowler based on hard
Well,
data statistics?
so for the hardcore old school football fan, yes, it's a mockery. But we live in a new age. This is 2026. It's all about marketing, money, uh, social media. Shador sells jerseys. How many 12 jerseys you see? He has a song, you know what I mean? The kids love him. So my son, the 12-year old, his group of friends, they play Madden, they play video games. On a Sunday, they're playing games. They're on the phone, they're on the PlayStation, they're playing video games. They're not watching football. But Shador being in the Pro Bowl, they'll watch that because Shador's in it. Davis, he's not moving the needle. What's the kid Trevor Lawrence? He's not moving the needle. Even Cam Ward, he's not moving the needle. Shador is polarizing. The league they want people because they were basically about to shut down the Pro Bowl and get rid of it. You know what I mean? They reconceptualized it. Okay, we'll make it flag football. We'll make it some events. They need people to watch this event. What's the best way to do it? You push Shador out there.
Yeah, it's still flag football, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole game is a mockery
Yep.
from what it used to be in the past.
Mhm.
But he sells jerseys. People like him, but when it comes to Hall of Fame deal, that Pro Bowl won't be the one that gets him in.
Yeah,
Uh,
but they don't Hall of Fame committee, they don't look at Pro Bowls anymore. I think they stop. They just look at all pros. So if you have 3, 4 all pro first team, that's what they look at. They don't look at the Pro Bowl business anymore. Because when they started, I don't remember what year they did it, but if you made the Super Bowl or whatever, you didn't go to the Pro Bowl. So it's just like, okay, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Want to say hello to Here We Go Brownies, our guy Dustin and Ali. Hello. Thank you, Jen, Victoria, James Frank for joining us. Coach, so, if we own the NFL, if you own the NFL and you were trying to make money, are you okay with the decision to add? I mean, we talked about the quarterback Snoop. There's been some other guys in the past that made the Pro Bowl, but this is the first time it's been based purely on marketing and outside of football activities. Does it kill or hurt the integrity of the game, Coach?
Let me tell you, it doesn't matter. Okay, it really doesn't matter. I'm an old player. Okay, the money that these players are making now is just unbelievable. But you know, Roger Goodell. I mean, it's all about marketing, man. I mean, they're playing more games in different countries now. It's all about marketing. So you do what you got to do. You do what you have to do. That's why when I was with Cleveland when they had that George Floyd deal, I tried to tell those guys, hey man, what you guys need to do now, what y'all need to do now is get the owner to say in the next the next football team that becomes available, whether it's a new franchise or someone that's in trouble that's got to sell it, it has to be minority owned and operated. Okay,
Mhm.
for at least 5 years. I said
Right.
you guys should try to invest, get it to the point where y'all can invest if you want to in that franchise. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Just like they do in Green Bay. That's not a single person owned, but they
Yeah,
didn't.
you would think with the money that's made, if these players got together and created a hedge fund, there's enough money, you know what I mean, that they could purchase a, you know what I'm saying, purchase a team.
Yeah, all those players from every team, you give them the option if they wanted to, the next franchise that became available, you get a portion of it. I mean, look, dang going what's his name? Tom Brady did. He went in and got a portion of it,
Yeah,
you know. So all of them could, if they would have just listened to, just listened, and oh man, that can't happen. Sure, it can happen. You
right,
got him saying whatever y'all want him to say right now.
right.
Right.
NBA players could do the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
Right. Well, not to dive too deep down that rabbit hole, we all know that the good old boys they don't really want to see that, and they're going
Oh
to
no, they don't. No,
get some other parameters in place that kind of deter that type of unity, especially on the financial level. You guys, that is a really that's a deep conversation there on why that's not so. You know,
yeah.
but Coach, I want to go into our final thoughts again. Our current African American coaches, D'Amico Ryans, Todd Bowles, Aaron Glenn. We're going to put Robert Saleh somewhere in that conversation. You know, looks like it'll end there. So hopefully they'll, as we go forward, you said it, Russ. We need more talent scouts, sideline people. You know, water
Mhm.
boys, you name it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll come from different. Uh,
Trainers all the way up. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that things will start to go more in that direction and give some people some opportunities. But Russ, before Stump closes us out, what's your Super Bowl prediction?
Let me think long and hard about this. I think I did pick Seattle to go to the Super Bowl in a previous episode. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
Seattle to win it.
Once again, I'm going with the Patriots. Coach, I'm going with Drake May. I'm sticking to. Uh, I want you and Grant to talk about his ascension, and I'm standing pat on that. I like Drake May. Uh, McDaniel's is from this area. Vrabel is from this area. I'm an Ohio kid, and so I'm sticking with my Pats.
Okay.
Coach, you just mentioned
To
21
get off page a little bit, I follow the draft heavy, and I really like what Seattle did in the draft last year. I liked Milrow, even though he's the third string quarterback, and I like the safety Nick Emmanure. But they've stacked about 3 or 4 solid drafts, and that's what has them in the Super Bowl right now. And bringing in Darnold, that was like the icing on the cake.
Coach Stump, I want to say if the Browns make a hire, we may do a flash warning to jump on our podcast and dive into that. But what is your final prediction on what do you think the Browns are going to end up doing, being that they waited this long and kept Schwartz at bay? I don't. Maybe he's happy with that. We don't know, but we think it's going to end up happening there ultimately.
well, I think some of those coaches also probably you never know. Some of them probably wanted to part ways with with Andrew Berry. I mean,
Right.
when you take a look at that team, the offensive lineman, and he allowed that team to get old. It's like he's just getting there. When you take a look at the age of that team, he's been there. That team got old. Situations happen around him. Okay, people the last couple years, bringing in guys and firing them. I mean, one and done on some coordinators. A lot of people don't want nothing to do with that. Okay, Kevin not sticking up for the coaches. That's not a good look. We're all in it together. Okay, but they was pointing fingers. So I can see a lot of people not really wanting to be in that situation, especially if they're coordinators. And by even getting an interview, it's going to cause your pay to increase. You know, those defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators that decided to stay, hell, they pay went up just for taking the interview. But back to the Super Bowl, I would love to see the Patriots win. I would love to see them, but I just think that's a tough defensive line. Seattle, Leonard Williams, those guys, they're playing, man. They're playing their butts off. So and they're accustomed to going to San Francisco. That's where they play. So it's kind of like home for them. But Denver did it, had home field advantage, and the Patriots found a way to win. So maybe they'll find a way to win. I would love that Ashton Grant and Josh Dobbs, Cooper and Dearness Johnson, guys that I know to have the opportunity to walk around with a Super Bowl ring uh, in the AFC Championship. Uh, is they already have that, but to have the Super Bowl ring would be awesome.
Thank you, James Frank, Jen Victoria, our top two fans. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Hello again to Here We Go Brownies. Uh, Russell Johnson, Coach Stump Mitchell. We'll see you guys soon. Let's sit back and see what happens with the Browns hiring carousel.
Sounds
Good night.
good.
Good night and good luck.